Hey everyone, today we are in the barn and we're trimming goat's hooves, and this morning I've got Lulu with me, so I just want to show you guys how to trim some hooves. If you look at Lulu's toes, they're really long. Okay, so a goat's hooves should have a pretty steep incline on them. And you want the toes to be even, and you want the bottom of the foot to be level. So that's what we are going to achieve today as we trim those hooves. When you're trimming hooves for goats, it really depends on what your ground type is like. If you have real rocky ground, you won't need to trim them as often. If it's real soft ground, you'll need to trim them more often. I don't trim the hooves every month. I'll trim them probably twice a year, and that seems to work for my girls. So it really depends on your goats, so you need to be watching them. Go on, Annabelle. What you want to have is some nice sharp trimmers, and these are goat trimmers, and you can get them at any feed store. They're quite available there. So either that or looking online, you can look for some goat hoof trimmers. Just make sure that they're nice and sharp. Take your time when you're trimming their hooves, and don't try to clip the whole foot at one time. Just do little at a time. You want to make sure that you don't clip their foot, or clip yourself. The goats have a tendency to kick a lot, and so you can end up hurting yourself or hurting the goat. So just take your time. When I do lift their hoof, they do fight with you, but you just hang on to them. And I like to hold their hoof as close to their body as possible so it's nice and comfortable for them. I don't stretch their foot way out. I don't put it in front of them or away from their side. I try to kind of just hold it in next to their body. And if you look at her hooves right now, you can see how far that nail is over her foot. So that's pretty bad. So, but like I said, they are going to fight with you. You're okay. So just hold that hoof as close to their body as possible, trying to make them feel secure as you're holding their hoof. Okay, so I've got her hoof, and I'm just going to clip off the top so I can kind of see what I'm doing in here. There you go. Their hoofs are pretty soft, so it's really not a hard thing to do. And if they have anything inside the hooves, I'll use the tip of the trimmers to try to clean things out. Just going to clean it out in there. And you don't want to clip the actual foot part. I'm just trimming that nail, that hoof, as far down as you can without cutting them. I know. All right, let's see what that looks like. Now, see, this one looks a little longer than this one. So I want to trim this little toe back just a touch more. And you can see right in here too, there's growth, quite a bit of growth in there. So I can trim all that down. There, that looks good. Okay, on to the next one. I know. She got quite a bit of toe on the end here. So I can just trim most of that toe off. There we go. So we're done with Lulu's hooves, and they were really long, a lot longer than they needed to be. I actually have not trimmed her hooves since I got her. I did get her a little less than a year ago. So that's what it looks like. Usually if they haven't been trimmed for up to a year. So biggest things is make sure that when you're trimming hooves, you either have a stanchion to put your goat in, and I would give them grain, but we are out here in the barn where other animals can come in, the cows in here, and it would create a lot of havoc to have some grain in here. So I didn't give her grain today, but typically I would, just to give them a little something to do while they're in the stanchion. Goats usually do fight with you a bit when you're trying to trim their hooves, so be aware of that. So either if you don't have a stanchion, make sure that you have somebody else there that can hold the goat for you. I wouldn't try to do it without the goat being tied up and on your own. It's a lot harder process to do that. But make sure you've got a good set of sharp trimmers, and then just be watching your goat's hooves. You know, once a month, just check them. Usually they don't have to be trimmed once a month, but probably every other month or every 3 months, again, depending on what your property is like. So but that really is it in trimming their hooves. Their hooves are not usually real hard. They're fairly soft, but they can get hard in areas, especially towards the toes. But this is what they look like. So they've got quite an angle right here, and the toes need to be even with each other. And make sure that they're sitting flat on their hooves. So if you have any questions or any comments, you're welcome to email us at hillsideharvesthomestead@gmail.com. We will take your comments and your questions there. Make sure to like, subscribe, and be sure to share with your friends if you're enjoying our videos. Thank you for coming and going through this process with us. If you are doing this with your own goats, I wish you the best and good luck with that.